Chapter 7. Flam patterns versus independence. Flam patterns versus independence, a really big battle in this war. What drummer is better? Someone who can drive rudimental flam passages into the ground, or someone who has the independence of a highly coordinated octopus? While there are extremes on both sides of the fence, such as five-way coordinated ostinato interdependence, complete with multi-pedal orchestrations, as well as ultra-complex hybrid rudimental combinations. What if I told you that these two systems are not only just a little similar, but extremely similar? I am going to show you how to morph flam patterns into independence patterns, and morph independence patterns into flam patterns. It's a bit like rhythmic surgery. At the end of the chapter, we will discuss applicable interpretation and musicianship. Let's first look at the way the hands work together for each of these two techniques of morphing. Section 1. Flam patterns into independence patterns. Let's look at playing example number 1 from the Chapter 7 PDF file, entitled Flam Pattern. If you need time to build this one-bar idea, print it out from the disk, memorize it, and then come back to this chapter. You can do it, and you'll be glad you did. You will always hear 2 bars of quarter notes before you start playing any example with me on this DVD. Here is our flam pattern example. As you see, this flam pattern contains a right Swiss, a left flam accent, and flam taps. Now we are going to sit down on a basic drum set and split up the hands, putting the right hand on the ride cymbal and the left hand on the snare. The next step is to see what each of the hands are doing independently. Let's take the right hand first. Now the left hand. And both hands together. As I am executing playing example chapter 7, number 1, I am playing a flam pattern. And if I solely use double stops, which are when 2 sticks hit at the same time, the rhythm is then morphed into playing example chapter 7, number 2, part A and part B combined, independence. As you see, the rhythms are virtually identical, minus just the mathematical discrepancy between flams and double stops, which we will get into near the completion of this particular chapter. Now we are going to add a samba ostinato underneath on the hi-hat and bass drum. Here is the samba ostinato. Now we need to put number 1, along with number 2, parts A and B combined, together with number 3. Here is a full phrase with some added emotion. What we just did was morph a flam pattern into an independence pattern, just by splitting the hands up on different surfaces and adding an ostinato underneath. This can be done with any flam combination, old school or new hybrid. Section 2. Independence patterns into flam patterns. Okay, now let's look at going in the reverse direction. morphing from independence patterns into flam patterns with the hands. Before we do this, we need to establish how we are going to morph, as there are a lot of choices to work with. What are we choosing? We are choosing to genetically splice the right and left hand together, deciding if any double stops are going to become flams. Double stops occur when two hands play at the same time. Now, let's look again at playing example chapter 7, number 2. Part A and Part B combined, independence. As we need to consider, beat by beat, what rhythms are being created as we start to build our flam pattern out of an independence pattern. As you start to look at this playing example, it is important that your two separate rhythms line up vertically, so the relationships become clear and understandable. The first thing that must be done is to rewrite the basic rhythm out beat by beat. For this step, transcribe the double stop flam candidates by using one single note. Every time you make a notated change to the independence pattern, also add these new additions to your fresh flam pattern. Go back to the independence pattern and circle the notes that have both the execution of the right hand and left hand in common, which are also known as double stops. Now we are going to decide which double stops are going to be right flams and which will be left flams. While that particular choice is up to you for your own application, please don't limit yourself to the patterns that feel natural, as some of the best sounding patterns I have ever heard or played are partially and even sometimes completely executed utilizing the upstroke motion associated with inverted rudiments. With right-handed flams being the flam with the left grace stroke note, and the left-handed flams having the right-handed grace stroke note, place your bets on what you really want. Back to my independence example. Now, label just the remaining right-handed notes, and likewise, the remaining left-handed notes, making sure that the rhythm on each hand does not change, minus, once again, the mathematical discrepancy between flams and double stops. Rewriting playing example chapter 7, number 2, part A and part B combined independence this way would morph it into playing example chapter 7, number 1, flam pattern. Section 3, interpretation and musicianship. There are some details discussed here that are important to support what will be your interpretation of these concepts that you are learning from the chapter and how you will apply musicianship to them. 1. Double stops versus flams. Double stops occur when both sticks strike the drum at the same time, while flams are constructed out of two primary components that strike the drum head at different times. These two primary components consist of a 1-inch grace note and the higher stroke that it supports, creating a flam. These two strokes are to strike the head as close as possible in time and create a chet sound. For someone in a well-managed drumline, the instructors will tell you how to do everything from A to Z, including flam and double stop interpretation. So there is rarely ever any individual musicianship involved, and when it does happen, control mechanisms are in place by management in case a particular situation gets too risky and the potential for error becomes exposed. For a professional performing artist like myself, you often have the opportunity to use your mind to contribute to the overall good of what is going on. With, however, a musical director or band director making sure what you are doing works with everything else. Like many complex ideas such as these, most of the time you won't be told to switch from double stops to flams, so it's up to you to use your best judgment as a professional. When you have the opportunity to experiment with the concept of double stops versus flams, and the sounds that can be created, be sure to experiment with all different possible textures, timbres, and colors. To create the sound you are inspired to make in order to become your own unique artist, and not just a clone of what you think the world wants you to be. 2. Volume levels. While I believe that there are major advantages from both rudimental pattern thinking and independence thinking, a huge benefit is exposed when using rudimental pattern thinking. It is the ability to execute musical passages at various volume levels of both the external and internal kind, as discussed in Chapter 3, whether it be on the drum set or when creating drumline music. Having multiple types of strokes to control sure gives us a huge range of possibilities to play with. When you are learning how to really apply these patterns to drum set, make sure, I repeat, make sure that you are experimenting with controlling your own volume equalizations from hand to hand, as well as with your feet. Remember that musicianship comes first.